Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Business. Tonight, our medical series continues. We will actually go to a non-medical guest. However, they are very important to a medical practice or healthcare businesses. We'll have a banker talking about loans for medical practices. But first, let's talk about those medical practice loans. So what is a medical practice loan? A medical practice loan is defined as a loan designed to provide financing to physicians and specialists. These loans are designed for physicians already practicing or are licensed and ready to start. So you're just starting up your practice. There are also loans available for dentists or other medical professionals such as vets, veterinary. Sorry, I can never say that word. Vets. These loans exist as the one thing we are sure of. Eventually, all of us will need medical attention. So their success rates of a medical practice or a business in healthcare is usually higher than your average businesses. So depending on the loan product, you can use these financings for a range of different needs. So what can you use it for? Number one, working capital. You can use it for funds for day-to-day operations. When you're waiting for the insurance company, for example, to pay you, you can use it as you wait for that payment to come in. Second, purchasing inventory. So be able to purchase inventory and not dampen your cash flow. So you need to stock up. If you're a dentist, you need to stock up on the fillings, for example. You can buy a bunch of them instead of just buy as you have or as you need, or using a lot of your cash to buy it. Equipment, anywhere from exam tables to a vet software to a vet office equipment or software for medical doctors. Buying equipment is very common for dentists and vets because it's hard for them. Well, number one, they need those equipment for them to be able to practice. Second, a lot of these the vets and dentists also like to purchase their own property because it's hard to move around that equipment with them if they're just leasing space. So buying equipment or real estate, I should say. Expanding or purchasing commercial real estate. There you go. Saving money on the lease. There are, tax opportunities to saving money through taxes, and it's an investment as well. But more commonly, I just mentioned it, for vets and dentists, it's very difficult for them to move around their equipment if they're leasing space, and they would have to move things around. So they'd like to purchase commercial real estate. Startup cost. Hiring, marketing, other expenses that you might need when you're starting up a business. Maybe you need to pay for tenant improvement on the space that you're leasing. Maybe you need to pay for a specialist to do your marketing research for you. Acquiring a medical practice is another use of this capital. So it's a lot easier to do that. I guess it's a good alternative to starting up a practice ground up. You buy an existing practice. It's very common for retiring dentists, for example. They'll find a buyer, a new dentist normally, or a partner of theirs, and then they purchase the existing practice. A lot of that, it usually comes with the equipment. And then there's also a risk because even though it comes with the patients, you might lose some. It's very rare that you retain 100% of all the clients. And lastly, you can use it to refinance business debt as well. Better rates. So, for example, if you had loans when you started the practice, you're into the practice now 10 years later, you're doing well, you can refinance that old loan and get a better rate. So who offers these type of loans? Well, traditional banks do. I know that Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Bank of Nevada, and U.S. Bank have medical practice programs. So that's something that you can go to and take a look. If that's something for you, they will require a little bit more. They require the business plan. They might even require to be involved sometimes, but they do offer it. And then there are specialized medical practice loan companies such as Practice Pathways and Provide are the two that come to my mind. You can search them in the internet, and these are loan companies that specialize in usually medical practices, dental, and veterinarians only. And they do have some specific requirements that are needed, but they do these loans. There's also the traditional 7A loans for small business, which is you would still go through a regular bank for that. And it requires for you to build a business plan. Like we had an SBA fellow here before. They talked about some of the things that they need. And then lastly, of course, there's always the private lending, which is depending on who the private lender is. If it's actually a company that does the private lending, normally it's a higher interest rate. Or if it's a family member, then you can do that as well. Here are some tips when you're applying for the loan. Before you even get started, check your credit. There should not be any surprises in your credit. You don't want a loan officer coming back to you and saying, hey, did you know that this exists in your credit? No, always check your credit. Be prepared for explanations. If there are things that's wrong in your credit, get it fixed already. When you're starting a practice, develop a very good business plan. Make sure you're using industry standards. Your numbers, I mean. Okay, make sure you do that research. You can hire actually somebody to do that for you. And then make sure that your projections are good and include the startup cost as well. Now, if you're expanding, you need to update your original business plan. And then also add for both, how will you meet your goals that you say you will do? If you are buying a practice, you should be assessing the practice. So yours, if you're already in business and you want to borrow, make sure that the numbers that you have for the value of business is very, at least close to accurate, right? You can hire a company to assess your business. The financials of the one that if you're acquiring one, make sure that the financials of the one that you're acquiring are good. Make sure it's valuated. Sometimes check on your partners if you don't know them that well. Get references. Just make sure that they'll be good partners. We've talked about that in a different time on the show. Number 5, collateral. See what's out there that they can use for collateral. Lenders always feel better if there's something that they can use as collateral for your loan. Compare the different programs for their requirements. I mentioned the different institutions that lend to medical practices. Each one of them have different requirements for that. Okay, so what's important to you? Do you want them to be not too much involved? Do you want them to not have too much capital? Or the cost? What will you have to do for them? Like some of these places will make you jump through hoops to get the loan. So find out what's really important to you and then kind of compare the different programs that's available for you before jumping in. Consider the terms and the rate. Ask questions until you fully understand it. And make sure do research that's available for you on the products that's available for you. Don't just say yes to the first offer that you get. Now, I gave you an example a few weeks ago about a friend of mine who's a dentist, and when he was buying his first property, the bank that he was dealing with did not give him a different option. They just said SBA right away. A conventional loan right away. They never talked to him about the SBA loan. So he dished out 25% down instead of 10%, which is so huge when the commercial property that you're buying is over $3 million. So there you go. Those are the best advice that I have when you are going to be applying for a loan on the medical side. Now let's take our break, and when we come back, let's talk to an actual lender that can give us more insight in lending for medical practices. We'll be right back.
Just like a friend from back home.
This
is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio. PHLV Radio.
Welcome back. Now we've got somebody over here, a guest tonight, that can really give us more information when it comes to loans. We are joined by my good friend. He is the Senior VP and Relationship Manager for Enterprise Bank. His name is Bernard Bermudez. Bernard, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, thanks. Good, Sonny. Thank you for inviting me. And, before we start, I just want to let you know, Sonny, the community appreciates all the work you do. You do a lot of you provide an excellent insight to our entire community. You've been doing this for years, and what a platform for you to be able to do this in this fashion. So I'm doing great, but thank you for inviting me, Sonny.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. And by the way, congratulations. Your Warriors won.
Yes. I wanted to go to the parade earlier this morning, but I'm just glad. That was an exciting time for the Bay Area.
Yeah, good for stuff. Anyway, sorry, we're both sports fans here. Yes. But Bernard, tell us about your bank. Tell us about Enterprise Bank, how long you've been here, what's great about it. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, first let me say I've been in the industry for almost 30 years. I originated my career, speaking of the Bay Area, out in San Francisco in the financial district for about 10 years. So I relocated to Las Vegas about 20 years ago. Worked for all the big banks, national and regional sized banks. I decided about a year ago to join Enterprise Bank and Trust. It's a community bank. We were founded back in 1988. And I think, Sonny, the reason, and you can understand this because you've worked for quite a few banks yourself, being at a smaller bank, we're about 12 billion in assets. I decided to join this bank because, we still offer all the same services the big banks offer, but it's a Midwest bank. And I loved when I met the team there, their CEO and their executive team, just very familial. And I think that the city of Las Vegas is really looking for a bank like this, where, we can handle all size transactions, but there's a real intimate approach to how we're doing business. But we're located in 10 states geographically. Here in the West, we're in California, Nevada, and Arizona. Our parent company is Enterprise Financial Services Corporation. And we offer all the services from business, personal, wealth management. Now, wealth management, we include financial planning, estate planning, investment management and trust services to businesses, individuals, institutions, retirement plans, nonprofits. And we also do specialty banking, Sonny, like third-party escrow, homeowner association, property management, and SBA. We're the seventh largest SBA lender in the nation. So
that's good news. Thank you so much. Good information. I agree with you 100%. I love smaller community banks. It's better feel for me. It's great. Yeah. Tell me, and I know this answer, of course, but I want you to answer it. I'm going to slightly modify my question because you kind of answered how Enterprise Bank is differentiated from other banks. But besides the bank, what differentiates you as a relationship officer helping clients when I bank with you?
Well, obviously the industry expertise helps. We have a pretty amazing group, which I'll go into if you want me to. It's called Practice Finance. But also, we're primed to ask all the right questions because of that team behind us. I guess also the relationship, style bank. We can offer the personalized service and the attention that a lot of the larger banks who have a similar group like this can't do. I think it's a team. We have a great team behind us here locally. It's not a large team. We have about 10 folks, 3 part of the commercial banking group. We just hired 2 interns from UNLV who are part of the team now. And we've all been in the industry for some time. Collectively, the practice team who handles a lot of I think the requests that a lot of your listeners, specifically to the medical industry, will listen to. But collectively, we have about a 50-year experience behind us. But I think it's that personalized service, Sonny, that really differentiates us. as a team overall.
Yeah, for the audience, just want to let you know, Bernard is really one of my go-to guys. Every time I need help, I give Bernard a call. Hey, tell me, how does your bank view medical practice loans or loans in for healthcare industry businesses?
Well, we handle all healthcare businesses, doctors, specialists, dentists, vets, optometrists. We basically, we know the value of the various practices and how our financing will fit. I wanted to say too, when you said earlier that, the go-to person to call, I'm hoping that a lot of you doctors out there or any medical professionals that you have a go-to person. And just like Sonny said, that it's very valuable to be able to just pick up the phone and call somebody. Sometimes it's just a talk shop. I mean, you might not have a specific request. Maybe you just want to, I like seasick, so if you just want to go grab some food. But I think the big thing is talking through what your request is before you actually need it. It's always helpful when you want to do that, way before the actual transaction is in place, because you can get a lot of ideas talking to, whether it be me, my team, or maybe other doctors who I can introduce you to who might be familiar with that type of request that you're working on. That way you can talk through it. Sonny, you know this as a prior banker. We get a lot of calls right when the transaction needs to happen, and they say, well, we need this money. I go, what's the timeline? 2 weeks ago. and so now we're scrambling, and it's always nice if you kind of tee it up prior to, just with a simple chat. But yeah, I think that's that's kind of how we as a company view these type of transactions, where if you can do it as a relationship style request where we can talk through it and give you some ideas, it always gets us to that end result faster and easier, I think.
Now, that's a great point, Bernard. You're absolutely right. Being really proactive. If you're looking to open a practice a year later, don't apply for the loan a year later. Start the process now. And you could probably give them good advice on how to even make that loan package better, right? Which actually, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, let me tell you a little bit about this specialized group that we have. We can help with purchasing an existing practice. Sonny, if you have friends out there in the business who are looking to grow their own practice, maybe they're looking for a banking partner that understands their goals and just get them to that next step. Our team, we're positive, we're efficient. I also talked about some of those the industries that we serve. We also do veterinarians and CPA firms, lawyers. But yeah, what we do is we evaluate your unique situation, and then we assemble a team around you, and we try to customize a package that really fits you. That package will include some robust financial solutions. And I think the big part, Sonny, and you know this because the business just changes so much, but you're going to have a banker, including me, because I'm going to be your main go-to guy, but I'm going to get a team of practice solution specialists around you, but they're there for the long term. They're going to help you through the lifetime of your financial success. And I think that's what this team, is helpful to help the community, because we're going to explore all those loan opportunities. We're going to walk you through the loan approval process. I'll be here during the documentation process, and then the funding. We'll be sitting there with you to make sure you understand all the terms. I try to get a draft of the doc sent out to you prior to closing so you can look at it. Obviously, this is where the time crunch matters, right? If we don't have a lot of time, we can't kind of slowly go through that process. And that's okay, because I know sometimes there are transactions that are quick, especially if it's a buy that you need to make a decision on quickly. But we want to get those documents to you prior so you can look through them and try to answer those questions before you get to the loan closing. Because sometimes that may impact your timeline because you uncover something at the table. We want to avoid that. So all those things, I maybe that's a little bit too much in the weeds there, but it's a process that I think the team specializes in, Sonny.
No, it's great. Hey, for the audience, Bernard, can you give us some examples of some of the items that you will need for a loan packet from practice, for example?
Well, really initially the tax returns, obviously everyone knows, business and personal. Then we also take a look at your personal financial statement, and that's really just to kind of determine your net worth and see what kind of assets and liabilities you have on your personal sheet. But also resume and your curriculum vitae. That's going to be something that we need. So it's pretty simple on the front end. That'll kind of give us an idea of where you're at and what additional documents you need. Along the way, we'll be asking you, as many of you know, if you've approached banks before, items along the way, but that'll kind of give us an idea, and we can quickly assess and let you know if it's something we can do. I don't know if any of you have gone through this before, where you're working with a bank and there's a lot of information that you provide, and then there's a lot more questions. Then you go down the line and we have we tell you at the end of that process, that's not something we can do. And months kind of pass. We try to get it up front, and we'll let you know. Sonny knows this. That's why we talk a lot. I'll tell him right away, hey, we looked at it, and let's see if we can find another lender in the community that might be able to do this, because we can't. But at least we can tell you quickly that we can't do it. But if we can, we'll work with you along the way. But that's kind of some of the initial stuff that we'll need to determine if it's even a viable deal, Sonny.
No, but that's really big, Bernard, the way you do it, because it's true. Time is so valuable for us. So the sooner that you can determine that it's a loan that you can do versus, okay, no, go ahead and start looking in a different direction, or even helping them find a solution is a really huge thing. So
yeah. Hey, Sonny, I don't know if you, I don't know, some of the folks in the community, they always say, well, what can I do? And what are the type of loans? If it's okay, I just kind of share a couple examples of what you as a medical professional might be looking for. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, please. That's perfect. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, good. So practice acquisition. Maybe you want to just consolidate some debt. Maybe you want to do a partnership buy-in or a buyout. Relocation, expansion, maybe a remodel. Equipment. Maybe you want to purchase some equipment. You might need a line just for working capital. Or one of my faves, I know Sonny and I, going back to our banker days, we love doing these, a commercial real estate, either a purchase or refinance. Just because there's some real estate involved there, we love to collateralize that. But yeah, those are some examples of some things that you all might be looking for from us.
No, that's perfect, and I agree with you. Especially dentists and vets, it's really hard for them to move around all of that equipment. Yeah. Oh, perfect. What is your best advice for young professionals looking for a loan?
Oh, young professionals! Wow. A couple of years of work experience, I think, is going to be helpful, just to kind of get a good breadth of your skill set, and get a flavor of how the business aspect of ownership is being done. And I alluded to this earlier. It's important. Maybe this is good for when you say young. I'm not sure, young at heart or young at age. But a lot of millennials that I run into, a lot of folks in that community may not see the true value yet of a relationship banker, and I think that would probably be my best advice for overall the community overall, is just get a relationship going as early as possible. And if you can't sit down and have a drink or a meal with the banker and just talk through things, I don't know, I think that's an important thing, just so you can feel comfortable sharing some ideas of what you want to do. But I think those are some of the advice I'd offer a young professional.
No, that's great.
Oh, and one more thing. Back when I was in San Francisco, I'm aging myself. This probably doesn't apply anymore, but the concept still works. When I was a banker in the city, Sonny, I used to sit with a lot of our clients, and I helped them create like a binder. And in that binder, we tabbed it out, and we had all of your financial information, a copy of your most recent credit report, your personal business returns, a sample personal financial statement, maybe a resume of some things that you've done. Obviously, in today's world, you're not going to have a thick binder, but if you can electronically have them prepared in some subfolders and just have that ready to go beforehand, because if you can imagine all these loans, you guys, that are coming across our desks, some packages are nice and neat. Some of them are kind of all over the place. And, as a banker, you're going to try to attend to all of them simultaneously, right? But if there's one that's really organized, you're going to maybe get that off your desk quickly because it's all together. So I think that would be one of my advice, and advice I'd offer to some of your younger bankers. Just get your financials together quickly and early, and maybe that's something that we can even help you do it. You might not have a request right now, but hey, Bernard, how do I put this thing together? And I'll walk you through it and kind of show you how your financials should look. And that way, when you are ready to execute, it's just a matter of pushing your send button on your email or your phone and get it out to me, and we can get it taken care of quickly.
Thank you so much for those advice. It's truly valuable. People don't understand sometimes how important it is to be very proactive and start meeting with a banker early and really develop that relationship. So now, any parting words?
Parting words. I have 15 years left in my career, Sonny, and I really thought about this over the last near 30 years. Like, how, if I look back at the career, am I happy with my career as a banker? And I am. And in the next 15 years, this is why I decided to come to this bank, is I wanted to spend this last 15 years a little more purposeful, so that when I look back at retirement, I can, really look back and smile at what I've done. And I have a quick story to share with you. There was a doctor who I helped out years ago, and when I first moved here to Vegas, and I drove her to her loan closing, and during the drive, we had a lot of good chat and get to know each other better. And one of the things that I had asked her is, I said, "Hey, can you share with me one of the things that you like most about being a doctor, and then also what do you dislike most about being a doctor?" And she said, she was from another country too, so she goes, "Well, I think what I like the most," it was kind of given, I expected it. She said, I just love helping people. And that warmed my heart, listening to her say that. And then she said, there is something that I dislike the most about being a doctor. And that's what surprised me. She said, what it is when I'm sitting in these hospitals, and some of these patients, they don't have any family that around there that come in to see them, and they're by themselves. And and she said, maybe not so popular in she goes, in your culture, in the Filipino culture, I know that there's tons of family there who's in the hospital rooms. But she said, I'm making the argument that a lot of patients, they're ill because not of some illness. It's more of, like a lonely heart. And I know a lot of you out there are doing good work, and you're really taking care of our community, and you're making sure that these patients are cared for. And as a banker, we want to do the same for you. So Sonny, I guess my parting words is thank you for giving me a chance to do this. And to the community, we appreciate the work that you guys are doing. We know it's not easy. I have a lot of friends who are doctors, and they tell me how tough the business is today. And, when it comes to your banking and your financing, we just want to make it easier for you. And, so we want to be here for you. So thank you. Thank you for the time, Sonny.
Not at all. No problem at all. It is so true. And I know you, Bernard, you really give that time to every client of yours, and that's one of the things that I really appreciate about you. And not only that, I know that you will fight for their loan until it's truly a no, but you'll keep on going until you'll make sure that everything has been tried. So I appreciate that. Bernard, thank you so much for joining us again. Come back and join us again next time, okay? If you don't mind. On top of that, that is our show for tonight. Everybody, I'll see you next week. Take care.